Hello, good morning everybody. We got into some chill stream music. I didn't mean for it to be that chill. I'm a fall back asleep. But yeah, I hope you all have had a lovely week. Happy Friday. We're doing another Game Dev Friday here. I'm trying out. Usually I would do game dev streams like at the end of my workday, in the middle of the week. So I'm trying out doing them in the morning. When I was in college and when I was unemployed, I would do them like during the weekdays when I should be working a full-time job, to give myself a little more structure. But now that I've been going steady at a place for a year, I had thought that the evening ones would work, and they did for a while, but then over the last few months I've just been like canceling them more and more, but I've started doing morning streams more and more. So I like doing the one last week, so we're doing a bit of another one this morning. This one we're going to be spending less time in the engine and more time just concepting stuff. So for those that don't know, I've been working on a little like it's for educational purposes, Nintendo, educational purposes, because I'm not going to be distributing it, and I'm not going to be, even if I did like package something, it would be like to talk about how I remade stuff for my portfolio, not to distribute for monetization or anything like that. So it's not even a fan project, Nintendo. It's an educational study, because I know how people feel about those too. So even though there's some really cool ones, so that's all I'm calling it, is just a arena study. But we have been remaking some Kid Icarus Uprising arenas in Unreal Engine 5. We've remade Forgotten City, and we've remade Spiral Tower. Both could use a little more of an art pass to them, and I do want to make some overhauls to the entire like game system at some point. I'm a level designer professionally, but more in like the laying out cubes type of way and the mission design type of way. So the super tech gameplay stuff and then the super pretty art stuff are both a little outside of my normal wheelhouse. I know how to do the basics of each of those, but I am going to need to do more research on how to make it production quality, for what I want to do art-wise, and how to make this we're using Unreal Lyra, which is like a little multiplayer shooter template that you can use for free with Unreal Engine 5. Which I've said before, my thoughts on Lyra is if you don't intend to ever change anything in it, it's great, especially for level designers or people just wanting to try out a prototype idea really quickly. If you want to make any tweaks to Lyra, it suddenly becomes a disorganized, unfinished nightmare to navigate. So that's my thoughts on Lyra. That's why I keep using it, is because I always think, well, I probably don't need to change that much. And then it ends up being more of a headache later on. But yet, it's still a really good template if you don't want to build entire gameplay modes from scratch. Because it's free. But yeah, we've done Forgotten City, we've done Spiral Tower, we've taken those both to like early art pass stages and such, so I want to add a third block out into the mix. So my plan is that we just have a chill stream this morning and we kind of plan out what we want to do, how we want to tackle it, what things we've learned from the previous two maps to apply to this one, just for an hour here. And then on Sunday's stream we will be doing a block out stream. And we will start blockout work, because I usually, again, do these just quick streams during the week, so we haven't actually done a lot of game dev streams on the weekend, so I want to do one this Sunday. We'll also be doing a semi-game dev stream tomorrow. My first like game dev indie credit was a college capstone that I made with my friends, but we actually worked on it a bit longer to publish it to Steam for free, and it is called Sonata Theory. It celebrates its 4-year anniversary this month, so we're going to do an anniversary stream while I will replay the game, and I will also tell you guys about the behind the scenes of how we made that happen. But yeah, that is all from me. I'm EP. These headphones are great, by the way. I got a new cat ear headset. It's like the actual Razer Kraken Kitty one, not the kind of knockoff I had off of Amazon. Though the knockoff did hold up fairly well for if you are looking for a cheaper headset. But it started dying and having only an hour of battery power even with the lights off, so it was, you guys heard me complaining about it on many a stream. So my partner got me these, and even with the lights on and like being dynamic, it has lasted, like, it's gotten down to 80, I think. I usually charge it at the end of the day, but using it all day, even going into work and using it, it gets down to like maybe 80 by the end of the day, if I had the lights on really bright. So it's been fantastic so far. But I got that, and he also got me this little light up Luma in the background. I had a birthday this week. I'm 26 now. But yeah, I got those. I also, with some gift card money, I got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is fantastic. We're going to carve out some time to play that in August because I really want to do the game dev weekend this weekend, and I will be out of town the following weekend to go see the touring version of Beauty and the Beast. We're gonna take a travel day and head over to go see that, which I'm excited. I used to see a lot of musicals live, both Chicago and even I was lucky to go see a few on Broadway, because my mom's like a big theater nerd, and then I was in like the pit band when I was in high school for stuff. But Beauty and the Beast was one of the shows I did. So I always forget it when I think of my favorite princess movies. It never comes to mind. I think of like Tangled and Cinderella and Frozen are the ones that, I guess Frozen technically isn't Disney princess either. So it doesn't come to mind for favorite like princess movies, but when I think of Disney Renaissance, like Beauty and the Beast is like the movie that comes to mind. So I get to see that, and to celebrate that, my Amazon order should be coming here tomorrow. But I did end up getting the Lego Beauty and the Beast castle set with some gift cards, so I'm excited to build that. And I'll put it up in the background with the Lego flowers and the Lego Animal Crossing. And the Lego, I need to put the Lego Mario block somewhere easier to see. I might swap it with my generic box of broken Legos, so that it's a bit clearer. And then rejoice, because in the same Amazon order, I did buy some blackout curtains, some pink curtains technically, but it's the same like blackout type that we have in the bedroom that have been working really well. And as you guys can see, these morning streams, the blinds aren't working. The blinds are not working right now. So, starting next week, we shouldn't have to worry about this little issue right here anymore. But I'm excited. I'm very excited. But yeah, my plan is to start Donkey Kong Bonanza and I originally thought we could play it in a weekend, and I'll be doing long streams for like the first weekend of August. We'll do a bunch of like 8-hour plus streams for that, because I'll have some time. But we might need to do a couple outside of that weekend. We might need to do some the following weekend, because I did not realize it's actually like probably twice the size of Mario Odyssey is what I'm realizing in terms of the main story, at least. Odyssey, I did really like Odyssey. I did beat the main story in like a day. I got it on like a Christmas morning, and then by like the drive home from Christmas stuff, I had beaten it. I was watching the credits roll, so I have not hit credits yet on Donkey Kong, and I have played it the past 2 nights. For a few hours each, so probably I think I'm around the halfway point now, and this is probably the amount of time that I would have beaten Odyssey or gotten close to the end at least, so we may need a little more time to play Donkey Kong than I originally thought, but that's fine. We will get there when we do August planning. But enough of that nonsense. I'll play Donkey Kong later. But yeah, I have picked, when I polled you guys, I think Ancient Fortress was the next one that kind of had some ratings that were up. And I think if we do a fourth one this year, I would like to do a fourth one this year. It depends on how much time we have though. Because I have another idea I want to prototype off stream, and then I do want to get back to Oz Tycoon, making Oz Tycoon 2.0. I had a hiccup there. Making Oz Tycoon 2.0 a reality for Blocktober this year. But yeah, shout out to my cousin, Cup Drinker on YouTube, for getting me these screenshots since I still haven't done my 3DS thingamabob. But yeah, Ancient Fortress is kind of like a combination. It has bits and materials that I think we could use from the past 2 maps we've done. So half of the arena is this kind of flat, does it get us, do you get us a shot overlooking the area, my boy? Okay, this is actually probably a good shot. But yeah, half of the fortress itself takes up this back part of the map, and I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 layers tall. So we'll have to layer that in our block out here. And then we also have this very flat field that's broken up by pieces of cover and occasional jump pads up to oh, that's what I was worried about with this map. So this map uses a lot of jump pads, which we as players can use, but the enemies cannot. Actually, I think I have a solution for that. We'll make these like the spawn points, maybe some potential spawn points, and put additional cover up here. And then we'll let enemies jump down from there, but let players jump up onto there with the jump pads. I don't think that specific point will be too big of a deal in gameplay, but yeah, so the fortress itself is this intricate, it's more intricate than the other maps, I would say. This is one of the more built out interiors, and the exterior has this fortress vibe, which we have the assets for from Forgotten City. And then yeah, the flat part is very reminiscent of the run up to Spiral Tower that we did with the landscape tool. So this will be a combination of, I don't think we need to do a landscape tool, but I am gonna do one. We'll keep it all flat. We'll keep it all flat for the back part, but I want to do one so that we can build up the mountains around using landscape if we need to. That would probably be a separate landscape layer though, but just to keep it consistent. And that we'll use some like very cube shapes and stuff to build out this interior, and then we will just be a little more freeform with the stuff out in the field itself. So what I need to do today is, it would be great if I could organize these pictures, but for now I'm just gonna shift them around a bit. You know, if I have the time today, I should have a lighter work day today. So if I have the time, I can organize these a bit more. Otherwise, I'll do it another time. I'm sure it'll work out. But let me, actually these pictures are great, but I am going to boot it up on my 3DS, my tiny one. I do have, the big one's the one I usually just play off of, but I've been keeping this one hooked up here to use. I think this is the one, oh my gosh, I just opened it and my heart just got so full. This is the one that I do want to send in to get a capture card at some point. Maybe I should actually really do that this year. I have an expensive hair appointment coming up next month, and we are trying to budget out our trips for the rest of the year. Why is it telling me to enter my... what? Did it just like reconnect to the internet? I didn't think that was possible. It's giving me a tutorial. Hold on. Why is it giving me a tutorial? I've played these games before. That's not a great sign. Actually, no, this isn't the one. This is not the one I was using to get reference of. It was my Excel that I was using, wasn't it? That's why. That's fine. But yeah, I'm basically going to just paper design, which my paper designs are nothing special. They're just like top downs with like kindergarten type drawing and stuff. I do like to shade darker. Well, pure black means it's a blocker in the environment, but then like dark gray means it's the lower levels, and then up to the lightest whites are like the top parts of the levels. And then if you have like something like really we might make multiple like level blockouts for the actual fortress itself, just so it's kind of like making little blueprints of what the structure should be. Let me set the rules. Ancient fortress. There's a lot of cool ones in here though. I've been saying I will keep working on like this little educational remake project until they announce, or until they release, I guess, a new Kid Icarus, or even just support of Uprising or something, anything for the Kid Icarus fandom. I will keep on just doing it myself. So we may be working on this for the rest of my life. But yeah, it's another... Let's go ahead and make our square here. And I'm using Miro to do stuff because I am using the free version, so this is just like everything. Don't look at 2025 planning, it's outdated. That didn't happen. Go like that. But this is actually where I've been keeping like all of our stream projects, so all the way back to the pumpkin patch when we were revising it. In fact, current arena state, I never updated it. We have a whole vista and replaced a few more blockout parts than that. But yeah, we kept track of how that went over time, what revisions we wanted to make, and like various notes throughout. Then you can see I started to try to get more organized, so this was like a something we did in Fortnite Creative. I think this was like our first Fortnite Creative map, so we just made another arena map. You know what? I'm pretty happy with this one, actually. I wasn't at the time, but looking back, I'm like, hey, that was pretty cool. Oz Tycoon, though, was definitely the most successful one, but I want to give it a visual overhaul and spice up the gameplay a little bit more in terms of, like, connecting some effects, having, like, better... Like, I just want it to feel better reward-wise, you know? I think I have the core economy in there, but I want it to feel better. I want, boss fights to actually, like, feel fun to play. I want it to look better, for sure. So yeah, we will be hitting that in the fall. And then yeah, we have our other arenas that we've made so far with the reference pictures to what the originals looked like, and then where they're at right now in editor. Spiral Tower is actually a little outdated, but it don't look bad, it don't look bad. Yeah, let's just make you clear? Just make a dark color because this will be the bottom. I think, yeah, it'll be a little longer. It'll be a little longer than other ones because this is more of a long map. Okay, I should have brought the XL because what am I looking at? So yeah, if I'm looking down most of the stream, it's because I'm running around the space in 3DS right now. What is happening in here? Alright, so I've got a visual, I think, on what the top part looks like, or the field looks like. Just that, like, the one photo my cousin didn't get? He got so many, though. How could this be? How could this be? So I'm gonna put the fortress down here at the bottom. In fact, I don't even know what color to make it right now, so we'll just... We'll just make it a lighter gray like this right now. Put it towards the bottom. Actually, yeah, that's a good question. Does it go all the way to the sides? I think it does. Or the very back does. Okay, interesting. The very back does, but there's some cutouts on the sides. So it's more like... How is this structured? Aha! I see. So it's more like this, but there is an extra little piece back here. So it's more like that. You can drop all the way down to this edge at any time, but there's a blocker and there's another little jut out right there. Yeah, let me try to, since we don't have the POV from here, let's put our blockers down for the field. So these are all the little stray pieces of cover that you see in the field here. I'm going to try to just look down and hopefully no one jumps me. Ooh, I want to... First, let's mark where the... Let's mark where all the little, like, landscape pieces are in this map. So there's one just out here. Actually, there's only two. There's one just to the left of the map. And then there's one in the very back corner of the map. Which I believe there are spawn points there, because I remember as a kid spawning there just out in the open and thinking, damn, I'm about to die. So I will probably, what we've done with the other two maps is I've made like a sub-level where all the blockout is as accurate as I can get it to the game, and then I've made another sub-level called like cover revisions where I add additional pieces of cover that weren't in the original game but work better for the combat system that we're currently using. It maybe would have worked better in the original, but that's not for me to judge. That's not for me to judge. I'm just recreating the map. Let's do like do that for the jump pad. Also, greetings apparently. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a lovely Friday. We're just planning out. I've been remaking some arenas from Kid Icarus Uprising and Unreal 5. So I'm planning out the next one we're gonna do. And then we'll start blockout work on this on Sunday stream. But it's good to have some sort of like planning stuff, even if it's just kindergarten drawing level. That's the fun part about being a designer, is you don't need to be an artist. It's more about, can you communicate where this stuff is going? Do you know what the floor plan looks like? And I think we started doing it for this project because the last sandbox, like the last arena type study we did, it wasn't an arena study, but we did a study of a level from Wallace and Gromit in Project Zoo, a game I played a lot as a kid as well. We did a study of that and we just jumped straight into blockout. I was like, I paper design all the time. I am a professional level designer, so I'm like, I paper design all the time at work. I'll just jump into it for a fun stream project, and boy, do I wish I took the time just to have a planning day or two for that, because we spent a lot of time revising stuff because I was like kind of guesstimating the block out, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't look right and stuff. And I was just planning as we went, and I never recommend doing that. If you have time to plan, do so. But yeah, let's use black for anything that would be kind of like cover pieces or blockers. And this map, that's basically a lot of like debris pieces that we see here. Actually, this view that my cousin got might be a decent one to reference. Yeah, looking from there, there's a little thin piece of cover right here. Oh my gosh, I call it the Victorian child. My apartment building's like very echoey, ever since they replaced like the carpet in the hallways with like vinyl and like painted the walls, and it's great. It looks great. It's much cleaner, but it's like suddenly very, very echoey where it wasn't before because it lost all that like noise absorbing stuff. And there's just this kid that just like, they sound adorable, but they just kind of babble, and it echoes throughout the entire building. But here's the thing, I've never actually seen a kid in this building. I've heard them, but I haven't actually seen one. So there's a part of me that's just like, was that really a child? Or is it just the Victorian child ghost roaming the hallways, babbling at me at whatever time it is? It sounds a lot like the baby, because I know it's just generic baby sounds they used in like RE8, but it sounds a lot like the baby monster thing in there. I think it made like the exact like laugh that ah type babble one day, and I was like, oh nah, we gotta go. Okay, wait, this is actually just a... I wish you could move the camera around more. Okay, so this one's just kind of here, and then there's one that's more like this. And then there's just a square one. Wait, no, it's not. I can see. Okay, it's good seeing it from the single too. It's not a square one. It's another just long boy. Actually, I want to make these a different color slightly because they're half color. Or maybe we give them a little like, yeah, I'll give them a little like dotted outline so that I know they're not, because these pieces are, even though they're not all the way to like the top of the skybox, right? They provide full cover, but much different from half cover, especially since you can't really crouch in this game. I don't believe you can. So it's really just only protecting your feet. You can still get headshot in these places. So let's make a note of that you're not really safe. And then, yeah, this piece being here makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I think we'll definitely be adding some additional cover in here. I have a feeling. Okay, this piece is more down here. This piece is further up here. There's another half cover piece. It's a bit thinner, like right here. Okay, and then there's like no cover at all in this back left part of the map. I remember running over there as a kid and being like, wait a minute, I have nowhere to go. And then dying instantly. That's just the way the world works. I put the computer on easy so I can walk around. Why are they shooting me now? I didn't do anything. Okay, so there's a piece right here. Piece like right there. Then some half cover just closer. Like right there. Yep, and that's all the cover out in the field. So I want to do a cover pass on the field when we get to our custom revision time for sure. Well, that'll be its own stream in its entirely, and that's not something I will sometimes like you want to plan for general cover and the general flow of your map at this state, but you don't have to plan the super specific. And then if a player gets headshot here, like they have this exact point of cover, and there's this like box that'll come in at the end of development probably, and we'll put it right here in this corner. Like, you don't have to be super specific with it, but you do want, if there's any like centerpieces like in the center of your map that you want players to use as looping cover, or you already have some like generic half cover placements in mind, especially if a space looks too empty at this part, then that's when the types of cover I would put in this stage. But you should also, when playing the map, be naturally like play testing it and thinking, hey, this spot is really empty, or this spot is really unfair and punishing to like this weapon type. I should alter the layout to accommodate that. So now's the fun part. Now we get to figure out this whole thingamabob. I'll make this white since it's top. I guess let's start from the top down so that I can do this on here. Because yeah, let me count the levels in the actual ancient fortress part itself. Let's see how many levels we got. So we've got a very top one on the tippy tops. That's 1. We've got the roof itself, 2. Oh, we've got 3, and we've got a 3.5. There's a little weird ramp thingy. But I don't want to count it as a full level, so we'll say 3. Okay, and then we got the ground level. So 4. So I think there's 4 levels total. We'll make these a shade darker. So let me go back up to the roof, and we'll block out what it looks like from the top down. It is just a lot of... Oh my gosh, and there's a hole you can fall through. Excellent. It's just a lot of ramps, really. Okay, wait, I need to let the map reset because I keep falling through and it's gonna reset. But yeah, I think there's a little like roof component here. Like right around here-ish. That's white. Yeah, I just need to see now where... How far is this to the edge? I'm assuming it's pretty close because I keep falling very far. Why is the computer player following me? Do not interact with me. I'm just here to block out. Okay, there's like a slightly walkable space. Okay, this is very interesting. Let me group these together. So you have this little drop down back to the main part. So there's a little itty bitty like walkable space there. It might loop around to the front as well. does not. So I'll put that all the way there. I should also mark entrances. Why did I settle on doing that for here? I just left them open here. I don't have the time for all that, so I'll just yeah, I'll just do red. I know red's like a dangerous no color, but I'm just gonna do red for wherever there is like an entrance into the area. Like a little doorway. So we'd have one here. Oh, I'll do red for doorways, and then we also have like kind of these windows, so I'll do blue for those because we have this big. I can't draw, oh my god. I could just do like using the line tool, but it annoys me. It annoys me and I don't want to. Okay, I think I switched it to this dark red. That's fine. That reads better. So yeah, that's snapped all the way to the front. And then actually this whole part here is just we've got like a white part here, and then we've got the actual ramp up. I wish you could do, I don't think you can do gradients in Miro. I wish you could. That would make my life a lot easier. I'll just turn the opacity down to like 70 so that it's between, and then do this pointing this way so I know it's going up. So yeah, there's just a ramp there. And then there's another ramp right... Wait, who pushed me downstairs? There's another ramp right below it. Left out the little merc, no. Just hear my cat slurping water in the background. There's a ramp coming from up there. And actually, this is the back of the map, so... With that in mind, let me lock the actual background here, and then Control-click to drag all of this down. Actually, let's grab all of this. Maybe the map is more square than I thought. The fortress part of it does not take up that much real estate. my god, my character ran out of stamina. I'm trying to get intel. Move. So there is like a little... my god, there's so many explosions. There is like a little ramp on the bottom, or not the bottom floor, so we've got 1, 2, 3 on the 3rd level. On the 2nd level. On the 2nd level, there is a little ramp that goes out here, and you can walk like under that balcony. So I'm trying to see how much of it you would actually see from that. It's like just where the window corner is. This is probably just gray. Back to full opacity. There is a ramp going up to it, but we don't see it here. And that, you know, it doesn't actually really go that far. It just kind of loops back around a little bit. It doesn't really do much, but it's there. See, and it does stretch past the doorway, and like that's about it. And then there's a ramp from the ground up to here, just underneath it. Stop, why? I told the computers not to fight me! Leave me alone! But yeah, it's kind of on this like middle layer here, so we'll make this slightly darker. And again, lower the opacity of it a bit. And then there is a doorway here. Try to do it more on the dark side. Hello? Can I draw? And yeah, that actually, if our mathing is correct here, that does lead directly into, these ramps are a bit longer than I thought. Let me just grab all of this. Just do that. That leads like directly up to this area here. Kind of, sort of. Actually, maybe I'll make the ramps the lower color. So it's a bit more apparent that these are like dropping down and coming up. And then there's a bunch more stuff Let's focus on the rest of this now. Got another ramp. Pretty much right here in line with this one. There is some half cover. Can bring these bad boys back up here. There are some instances of half cover. I think I made this too wide at the top also. That's something I will measure in editor. Who pushed me off? That's something I'll measure in editor. I like to measure stuff by, I mean, if there are exact metrics, I'll do it, but when you're remaking a space or you're making it, like tweaking it to feedback on how people feel, then time, like for your inspiration or your reference, time how long it takes to run from like one end of the space to the other, and then match that up with how long it takes to navigate that space in your map as well. I once had an instance on a project where like we used like sprint, like how fast the player could sprint through an area for like all of our metrics and stuff. And it worked out really well because that's what we used like reference wise, and then we're like, hey, we want to like increase the gameplay duration for this, this, and this. And then like randomly one day, like way after like stuff had been like approved and already like in production, we get a, what if we change the sprint speed? And I've never seen so many like people are typing at the same time, myself included. I was like, what do you mean, what if we? Oh, there's a full drop down here. Okay, this little area is at the same level as the rest of this. Fascinating. So it does go all the way up to the top. There's just a... So it's kind of like this, and then... I think there's a drop down all the way to the bottom of the map. The ground level. Right about... Actually, this isn't. It's more like over here. To like bring the map in on this side. So there's just a big old drop down there, all the way to the bottom, and then I'll draw a little marker there. What time is it? Okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. Yeah, I think that covers, I want it to be, condensed down a little bit more, so this is like pretty much right in the center. Right in the center is the thing. So I think I made this part too big. So maybe more like that. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Keep the doors there. They're just rough guesstimations anyway. Then we have to bring this all the way in because that's where the stuff is. That looks a bit better already. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this out more. Because I want to at least start putting a rough thing together for the other floor. So if we lock this, then we shift, grab all of this, and copy paste it down here. Or not? Can I copy paste, please? Or just duplicate? That's fine too. So this will be our second layer here. And we know this because there's just a big brick wall across the backside. So let me try to orientate myself here. If it's this floor, then we don't need any of these markings. But these ramps going up, we do need. In fact, I'll make them lighter. Then there is a ramp going down directly next to this, so I'm going to make that the darker color. The darker color. Oh, we've got the ramp going up to this color now. This ramp's actually much shorter, it seems. No, it reset the match again. My team won. I told them not to do that. I'm just gonna redrop myself. There we go. Oh, it actually respawned me exactly where I need to be. Okay, no complaints. Yeah, I guess this is actually supposed to be a very like tight gap. I don't know how I feel about that. probably the first thing we'll do Sunday is decide what angle we want the ramps to be at. And then that'll be like the core of how we set up this fortress. Yeah, that goes around. We know this is here, so I'm gonna start doing the full like black squares where we know there's blockers. Though this is supposed to be a much narrow. That's where the extra space is coming in here. This is supposed to be much narrower on no on this side. This is why we paper design, so I could find these things out actively. It's much better to find out and like think, okay, this thing's going to be a headache for me at this point than it is later on. So with that in mind, let's move. Yep, that should all line up. That matches with that, and then we just scooch that over there. Oh, that makes much more sense and looks much better. So let's put our wall up. So yeah, using pure block for any blockers, but we'll draw the red lines on either side here, so we know that this will be a doorway. And then I think there's some more half cover in here. Oh yeah, we have it placed. It's kind of like a some there. It's actually kind of inverse. It's like a tiny one here and then a longer one over here. And there's actually a little spot where you can step out because I think it's like some cover for down there, which we could probably have shown. I think you can jump down to it from the first story. Is it all the way to the edge? Yeah, it kind of goes around the edge a bit. Make that. Copy and paste it up. And then I think I want to work a little more on this. I want to get the ground floor stuff, and then I want to pull inspiration for what we already have. So I'm going to do a quick, like, 3-minute BRB again. And then we're gonna wrap up this planning for the day. So BRB, everybody. Alright, I'm back, and apparently Twitch was already running ads. Even though usually I try to set them. I don't know, I know Twitch got hacked the other night. So hopefully y'all are okay. Hopefully I think we're live. We're fine. But yeah, I know a lot of streamers like got taken offline during the hack. Yeah, let me see, where am I? So we're doing the middle floor here. Yeah, it has that little part that juts out. Nothing too fancy though. And it's just no cover on here, it's just completely open, which is fine. There are also more stairs going down behind these stairs here. What have I done? Actually, I like the way that's swapped. That's real nice. That's good level design. I like that. Yeah, this part isn't necessarily relevant to our stuff, so we'll just make this black for now, and then we'll add in so that we know it's inside the building. This back here. Actually, this part here runs behind like the entire back part of the fortress. It has like this vista of a fortress wall, so I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that up here as well. Take that, scoot that down. Alright, and I think that is basically our second level of nonsense here. So now down to the ground level, and again the third level it's just like this little loop-de-loop here, and then our roof level and our upper roof level is there. So let's just find out what the ground floor looks like. Ah, I already see. So there's a jump pad. Right in the middle of this. Go ahead and make this the dark gray. So these two would be going up to the... Which color was this? They're all like some variation of... So that's the normal dark gray. Okay. No, not that. I wish it would let you organize your colors a bit more. I need to like remove them all and re-add them in the order I want them to be. So since these are on the upper level, we probably don't need to reference them anymore. We'll reference this bit so we know where it's going up. but don't need any of that. In fact, from this perspective, that would just be a blocker because it's solid underneath. So we'll just make that black. Remove these. So that goes up the side. There is there is an entrance right here that we can mark with red. So there's a doorway. I died. What? I put them on easy. So there's an entrance right there. Otherwise, the front. Aside from where do we have that long piece of cover? So where the long piece of cover is. Oops, I accidentally took a jump pad. Oh, there's a random... Is this a directional jump pad? Aha. So I will mark it with green since it's different. But there is another jump pad out in the field, like right here. That you can use to kind of go wherever. And all of the cover pieces are a little further back than I thought because of that. Or like more like that. There. Anywho. All we see of this part here are there are like little support beams holding it up. So we'll give it some support there. And then remove that. That's all we get of it on the bottom floor. It's all business. Except for the door, which again will be lined up with. Let me actually put this back down here just to line it up. Whoa, that was really good. Did you guys see that? Whoa. And the walls aren't this thick, but it depends on the assets we want to use, I guess. Actually, yeah, we'll go ahead and make them thinner. And that can be removed. This one will be whatever thickness we need it to be for here, so I'll leave that. And then there's a door out to the jump pad on this side. How is time already almost up again? What? Let's see, and they've got some walls, so they do have some like walls hiding the stairs, all fancy person-like. Which I would love to look at more, but the match ended. Yeah, it looks like they have a wall there and the same for over here. But I need to see how far they extend. Oh, as soon as okay, it spawned me in the fortress, that's good. Let's see. Okay, so this one here, if I orient the camera a bit better for me, it like lets you see the foot of the stairs, and then otherwise it extends all the way back. So we'll fill in the gap here with more of just like a black cube. And I think it's a similar deal for the other side, just much less ground to cover. Where, yeah. So it extends all the way back. You can't sneak back there, and then there is even... It's like the same amount of the bottom of the stairs that they let you see, but this part is fully blocked off from there. See, the bottom is pretty empty, I guess. It should be hopefully a little more condensed than this, because like this gap here, in fact, let me make some sticky notes on it. Gap should be ramp width, and draw a little. I'll do a pink for, but it won't give me pink. Okay, give me the same pink. So just make a note there. We'll add another note. Or wall thickness can just equal, or can equal, or wall thickness equal one wall mesh. So I don't have to worry about changing them. I think just whatever our kit can do, we will work with that. Then I'll make a note that this is a directional jump pad. Or like free jump pad. And that these are like locked jump pad. I'm pretty sure we have a little bit of a different version for each. But now, where did it go? Let's type up paper map. Second floor story. Or I'll just do level. And then ground level. But yeah, that is, again, I don't do anything too fancy with paper maps, but this should let us know kind of where to start. And I think this will be a good start for getting stuff set up on Sunday. If we can get at least the basic, even if I feel like the fortress itself will spend mostly like setting it up and getting like the outline of it. Like when you build a Lego house, because I'm in a Lego mood, you like build the outer part like and outline it. I guess specifically Lego creator houses, you like outline it on the little like pad first and then you start like filling it in as you go. So I'll probably do something like that, and we'll focus on getting the overall size of the arena, and like distance stuff, because yeah, I want this to be smaller in block out. I want it to be ramp width so that these ramps right here are like in the middle of the fortress. I want it to make sure it doesn't feel too big, but I want there to be, I don't want it to feel claustrophobic either, because I never felt claustrophobic playing this, and the camera's a little further back than where it is in Kid Icarus, so that might affect how we want to structure it for here. But yeah, so it might be mostly like set up rather than getting a full block out pass done, but I think once we have it set up, if we take the time to make sure that it's set up properly, then block out work for like the rest of the fortress should be easy, and then the cover stuff, we're basically just eyeballing it and throwing it out there, and I think we'll have a separate stream just completely kind of overhauling the cover in the field as well, especially since we can use, so what we want to use from each one is, I have them up in editor right now, but this was from our Forgotten City map, or this is our Forgotten City remake. It's a lot more green than it is in the original version, but these assets, if we could find a way to like maybe make the material a bit darker, like a child of it. But yeah, we have this stuff, so maybe even just whatever the thickness of this wall, this will be our stuff, and this will be how wide the entryways are. They're not that wide, it looks like. They're a bit more like this amount, but we'll see, because I want to keep it like that authentic brick. They're probably a bit too thin in the 3DS version if we want that Unreal Realism feeling to it. But yeah, I think most of the fortress assets we're going to take from here and hopefully get like darker versions of aesthetically in the future. So that's my #1 reference for that, and then or Spiral Tower. And then Spiral Tower here, we did a lot more landscaping on. Ignore, my cat wasn't in the game, but hey, I needed to learn how to use some of the modeling systems in Unreal 5. But we put in destructibles into both of these maps too, where stuff falls apart, but like we could use rocks as cover, we could use debris as cover now. Use big rocks as cover, so I'm thinking we'll take what we learned from the landscaping portion of this map, and we'll take what we learned from the interior portion of the previous map, and that'll be what we pull for reference when making this next one, which will be a nice combination of the two. So I'm actually really happy with the order that we've been making these first 3 maps, because it just makes sense in terms of what we're growing and what we're piecing together for how the design of this game worked. But yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. Again, very simple, very to the point, but you guys, I guess you guys didn't see the interior, but like just looking at it here, it's a lot of emptier spaces, and the field especially could use a bit of an overhaul. So there's no reason to over complexify something just because you're like, oh, other things, like modern games, like you might think the layout is super complex and be like, oh, I need to like show all the details of that at this early stage. But sometimes the reality of it is the layout and the flow itself can be super simple, and then you add other things on top of it as production goes along to enhance it. Because you just want your layout to be navigatable, so I think this is a good starting point. It's simple, but honestly, this paper map wasn't bad. But this might be one of the better ones we've done. Spiral Tower, I just kind of drew and sketched and honestly it just ended up looking like Yoshi for some reason. So I feel a bit better about this one. I'm excited too. So we will start blocking that out on Sunday. We're also doing a game dev stream tomorrow, celebrating 4 years of Sonata Theory, my first game designer credit. So we'll be streaming all weekend, and we'll be having a little game dev weekend here. If game dev isn't your jam, then I talk about game design all the time on the channel, so hopefully you're still having fun here. But if you're more interested in like the gameplay stuff, we'll be jumping back into Sims 4 on Monday. We'll be doing Tears of the Kingdom and Mario Kart World on Wednesday, and then it will be back to game dev on that following Friday, but y'all will get a few gaming chill streams during the weekday as well. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll start blocking out this weekend. Take care, everybody.